16 million tourists come here to Dorset in southern England every year. But the holidaymakers are only one part of the story of the coast. Half of all Europeans live and work in coastal areas. Coasts are important centres of transport and trade, often environmentally fragile and under huge pressure. The problem in Britain and elsewhere in Europe is how to manage all the conflicting interests.
There's nobody in this country that is responsible for the coast or the sea in its entirety as an integrated thing. And yet the actions of individuals or individual interests do conflict. So, someone who wants to use a motorboat out there is conflicting with someone who just wants to swim in the same water column. But there is no authority, one authority, looking after that. Therefore, the only way to deal with it is by consensus planning.
So in Dorset, the answer was to set up a coast forum, a chance for anyone with an interest in what happens on the coast to make their voice heard and to help plan a strategy for the future. An exchange of ideas between more than 100 different groups, everyone from local authorities, fishermen, fossil collectors and bird watchers. This impressive stretch of coastline in Dorset needs protection. It's just been declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, because this is where the dinosaurs walked. And the wealth of prehistoric remains and fossils proves it.
Ah, this is nice. This is a section through a bit of dinosaur poo. You can see the way it's coiled inside the stomach, and it was laid, on the seabed, and now it's here cut open as a fossil. It's rather good, isn't it? This is a really important scientific place. And on this coast, you can walk through 200 million years of Earth history in 95 miles. Nowhere else you can do that.
One of the guiding principles of the Coast Forum is to preserve the spectacular beauty of what is now known as the Jurassic Coast. Already 200,000 school groups come every year in search of dinosaurs and to look for fossils.
I think I found an ammonite. It's a very small one, though. About 180,000 years old, I think, when the dinosaurs were around.
One of the priorities of the coastal plan is to encourage more people to enjoy the area. Through the forum, a partnership is being built between local people and the tourist industry to make sure that happens in a responsible way. Elsewhere in Dorset, the more traditional holiday resorts like Weymouth are also forum members. Tourism puts a lot of pressure on the coast, not just here but all over Europe. This nature reserve is an example of how Weymouth is already working together with other groups to offer visitors alternatives to the beach. And potential conflicts of tourism versus environment are minimised through the forum discussions.
I think the perception of tourism in here, because we've been working in partnership together, people understand tourism is part of the economy, is essential to the economy, but it can also be sustainable within the environment. And there is no conflict if you develop it properly and you communicate properly. And this is what we're doing.
The health of the local economy and employment play an important part in the coastal planning. Fishermen here in Dorset, as elsewhere in Europe, are feeling the pinch. Alan Lander is a fishing spokesman on the Coast Forum. The forum has played a key role in lobbying for fishing rights at European level, and it's hoping to promote fish sales through an initiative with local restaurants.
The Dorset Coast Forum has produced a seafood cookbook. Very good little book, lots of recipes. Lots of local restaurants have put their own favourite recipes in there. The fishermen have various photographs of the fishermen. I've got two boys in the industry, and my eldest grandson has just come into the industry. I'm the fourth generation, and now we've gone on to the sixth generation. And it is important that we preserve it and look after it so that his sons can carry on the good work.
Back on shore, these dramatic pictures of a massive landslide shot by local Coast Guard cameras show just how fragile this coast is. The forum members must monitor coastal development closely. It's unlikely this apartment block would be allowed to be built today. Perched precariously on top of crumbling cliffs, 15 years ago, it almost slipped into the sea, and the use of stones from a different region to shore up the cliff displeased conservationists. These days, the idea is to work together for sensitive planning, like this project in Lyme Regis, built to blend in with the cliffs. It's a new sea wall, a coastal defence, which cleverly also houses the town's sewage works.
It's an awful thing in a tourist resort to have your sewage right on the seafront. So this is it. It's all designed to hide all that. There's a big flume in here holding the stormwater, and a big pump behind, a little chimney that looks like coastal defences, a bit like a castle, and that's where the methane escapes. It's good, isn't it?
Lyme Regis, made famous by the film The French Lieutenant's Woman, has serious erosion and landslip problems. 4 houses that used to stand here have already collapsed and disappeared. 2 others are boarded up, and the experts are worried.
This is one of the most difficult planning issues on the coast, and it really demonstrates why you need a forum so that where people can exchange ideas and come to a good conclusion. The seawall is very much exposed here because the beach has disappeared, and it's undermined and is moving. That's the first thing. On it, of course, there are structures, and they're moving with the seawall. And behind it, the old cliff is now cracking. We've got landslides developing up there. We must stabilise it.
The coastal strategy is not just about the land, but also the sea. Water quality must meet European standards, and the protection of marine life is important too. A sea life database is being compiled to help with pollution monitoring and future conservation. For this, marine specialists are coordinating with fishermen as well as the offshore oil industry. Scallop fishermen have also agreed to voluntary limits on their activities to preserve precious coral reefs. Even the shipwrecks matter. Divers, fishermen and archaeologists have formed a partnership to draw up a map of more than 2,000 wrecks on the seabed.
Wrecks are an extremely popular tourist resort. Thousands of divers come to Dorset every year to dive off the Dorset coast, and one of the main reasons they come is to look at the wrecks. If we know where the wrecks are, we know about the wrecks, we can ensure that that resource is maintained, is available for people to use and enjoy in the future.
The idea is that the forum should have a complete picture of the coastal area, with a clear vision for the future. Dorset was one of more than 30 places involved in a European Union pilot project for integrated coastal zone management, and now its expertise is in demand.
Now we're finding that people are asking us to go and demonstrate this all over Europe. Poland, we've had people going there. I've talked about it in France and in Portugal. It's just that we seem to be doing something very special here. And it's just that people are talking to each other. And that's the most powerful sort of planning you can have.
And now the European Commission has seen that this sort of consensus planning works, every country in the EU is being asked to draw up its own coastal strategy, an integrated approach to protect the coasts where so many of us live, work, or simply go to enjoy ourselves.